And welcome to Live with Sensei. I'm your host, Jay Haynes. We are streaming today live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch TV as well. And today our topic will be talking about HitFilm 16 and any questions that you may have. We will have answers. Let me be the first online to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope everything is going wonderfully already in the new year. And I would like to introduce everybody who is here today. Starting directly to my right on your screen is Frank and Court. It is great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Hi, great to be here. Thank you for having us, Jay.
Thank you. And directly below me is Lynn, also known as Stargazer 54 on the forums. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you. And then kitty corner from me is Justin from Clever Tagline. Welcome to you as well, sir.
Thank you, Jay. Happy to be here, and Happy New Year from Las Vegas.
From Las Vegas, indeed. And I am not from Las Vegas, but I'm wishing everybody Happy New Year already. So today we're going to talk about HitFilm 16 and do a question and answer session. And I see a lot of people have already started throwing comments in the chat. So feel free to drop a comment in there and we'll see who's here. I want to start with a question, though. This is a question that I've already pre-framed because I figured it would probably come up. It is a big question, and it is one of those questions that everybody is asking on the forums. They're making all kinds of big threads on it, and as ambassadors, we've been combining them all into one thread. But it's this, and here it is. It's like, hey, I have downloaded the installer, and I have installed HitFilm, and now when I try to run HitFilm, it gives me this error message. And so what the heck is that all about? And the short answer is basically it means that your computer is probably not powerful enough to be running HitFilm 16. And there's a lot of technical reasons behind that. Here is what the big man himself, Josh Davies, said about this. He said this issue is apparent on equipment that has been below spec for running HitFilm for some time now. And it is most likely due to a lack of support for OpenCL, not necessarily OpenGL. And of course, GPU hardware tech has moved along at a breakneck speed, and they're doing their best to support as many older GPU technologies as they can. But HitFilm is a hardware accelerated 3D compositing and special effects software, and therefore it requires similar hardware to most modern 3D games to be running. You wouldn't expect next-gen games to run on older equipment with literally 1% of the GPU performance and 10% of the CPU performance of a modern system, and so that carries over to high-performing tools like HitFilm as well. So he says, we'll do our best to see if we can get things working for you guys in the next update, but I'm afraid, as per the rest of the industry, the system specs are likely to only increase as time goes on. So if you are having that issue, then that is most likely the reason. The bottom line is that HitFilm is moving along with the technology to be able to add more and more things for you. But the downside is that older computers are not going to be able to run HitFilm at the same way that it could run it before. So anybody want to add anything to that?
Well, they also upgraded the OpenGL in HitFilm 16, so that knocked some lower-end cards out of the box right there. From Core 2.0 to 4.1. So without updating your drivers and moving to maybe a newer card, you got to move with the industry, and that's kind of what Josh is kind of saying. Right.
So going from OpenGL 2.0, which I believe goes all the way back to the early 2000s, like 2003, 2004, something like that, to OpenGL 4.1 is like a jump to 2013 or something in that range where that came out. So one of the things you can do is you can update your GPU drivers to the latest. And a lot of people really feel like, oh, my GPU driver automatically updates itself, or I have it installed, that it does that. But if it was me, I would go and check manually because I have an NVIDIA 1070 card, and it supposed to let me know when it's time, when a new driver comes out. But it doesn't. It just doesn't. So about once a month, I go on and look, and every once in a while, I go, well, there's a new driver here, and so I download it and and install it myself, making sure that it's done correctly. And a lot of times, little problems that I would have with the interface go away when I do that. So I see a difference when that happens.
And if you have NVIDIA, you should load the GeForce Experience software, and that will tell you that you've got an upgrade.
Yeah, in theory, but I have the GeForce software loaded. It doesn't. It isn't working, and I don't know why. And I go in and I say, make sure you tell me, and it still doesn't. So I don't know why it's not making the connection.
Yeah,
but
because
for some reason it's not.
I've been getting alerts when mine gets updated. So.
Well, that's because they like you more than they like me.
The other dilemma is Windows 10 has a bad habit of messing with your drivers, and Windows thinks they know better about what kind of driver you need than you do, and they'll install a driver, that's based on Windows instead of from the manufacturer. So you want to go to the manufacturer and get your drivers.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. That's a great tip for sure. So any other feedback on that issue? Because that's a big one. All right. Well, then we're going to start jumping in here and seeing what everybody has to say. And I did see a question. Let's see. This is from Tony, Dafter Things. And that is from the beginning of HitFilm, from the beginning of time. What was the major new feature or function that made you go, wow? Anybody?
A new shading system. For the
from HitFilm 16, the newest one.
Frank said the new shading systems are really amazing.
Yeah, from HitFilm 16, they are like wow, they are. I totally agree. Anything from gentlemen? Besides
Nothing really
that,
jumping out at me. I mean, there've been lots of little things here and there. I don't know. I don't do as much 3D as I used to. So all the 3D stuff I really don't touch in HitFilm. But I can't recall anything that jumped out and said, "Holy cow! I'm so glad they added this thing," or "This is a game changer for the kind of work that I do necessarily." So, I'm just very appreciative of the constant updates and improvements that they're always making to this thing. So,
Lynn?
Oh, I think I'd say the light flares. That was pretty cool.
The custom light flares, the newest set are amazing. And we did our live stream last week on that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was great.
It was so funny because it was like, no, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. Okay, let's try it. So then I'm going through it and he goes, oh, well, you could just click here and do this, this, and that. I'm like, wait, you didn't tell me all that. I mean, there was so much more that he didn't even cover.
Yeah.
So it just kept, it was like an avalanche on me because I really hadn't played with it. I mean, I went in gold, which is probably not a good idea, but I figured, hey, he'll just show me what to do and let's hope. And he gave me the overview. And then when we started really delving in, I realized, my gosh, I mean, really it was the tip of the iceberg overview. There's so much in there and you can really do just a tremendous number of things with that. So yeah, that was a pretty cool one. For me, I would say it's the particle sim. I started in HitFilm 2, and they had just added the particle sim, and I was doing a matrix bullet time effect, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I mean, I've never seen anything like. I couldn't believe that you could do something like that. And then when I started exploring the particle sim even more, it just became even more wow. That feature in HitFilm has always been the biggest, most impressive thing for me personally. So thanks for the question. Here is a question. Will Film Sensei ever upload gaming tutorials? Well, my main online gaming is I play chess. That's real exciting. So yeah, but I am not a gamer. So chances are slim, unless you want to see a real mean game of Minesweeper or something like that, and how to edit that for, it's probably unlikely. However, having said that, Ollie did a fantastic gaming masterclass using HitFilm to edit and cut together videos for gaming channels on the FX Home channel. So if you are interested in that, go watch that because it's the best there is. And really, I couldn't do any better than that. Any of you guys want to do gaming tutorials? Any of you guys gamers?
Nope. I do a few games on my phone, but I've never really been, big into that kind of stuff. For me,
Yeah,
it's
well,
editing motion graphics primarily.
You're a motion graphics guy. I used to game a lot when I was young and had time, like free time. And now I don't. And so, I was, when I was young and single and, and was running my karate school, man, I had weekends free and stuff like that and nothing better to do. So I played lots of video games. But then I got married and I had a son and, these things took up my time and I would rather spend my time with them than, playing video games. So things had to go and that was one of them. So let me see here. I am walking through these questions. I'm looking for questions. How about this one? Oh, nope, that was not the one. How about this one? Can you show the steps on screen for updating the GeForce driver or do a tutorial? It'd be probably be better if we did a tutorial. I would imagine that NVIDIA probably has a tutorial like that, but we can certainly hunt it down.
I would think so. You just go to the NVIDIA site and download GeForce, and then they'll tell you what to do. It's pretty simple.
He wants a familiar face, though.
Yeah.
Somebody nice.
Here I am. You go to there, and all you have to do is search for your driver, right? And of course, you have to know how to find out what your driver is. If you don't know what it is off the top of your head, you didn't keep the box, So what does it say? But you could find that on your computer. Then you'd search for that, and then you look at it and compare it to what driver you have on your system right now and decide whether it's a new one or not. Chances are, if you've never updated your driver, it's the new one. I can almost guarantee it. So let's see. Here you go. Chess, I need to get Cyberpunk 2077. Okay. All right. Just checking. And the Minesweeper. Minesweeper with VFX.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, great. And Frank can bring in the model to come in and bomb it. And then Lynn can build the particle sim explosions for me. And I'll just supervise. How about that?
I've got the link for GeForce if you want me to post it in the comments there.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Can you post it in the comments? That's a good question. It might not let you. I don't know if I made you a deal.
I just made a separate tab to view the stream on YouTube and just go pop it in there.
Right. I may have to do that too, because otherwise,
if you have stuff to pop in.
Right. And that may be, hold on. All right, hold on. I gotta
well, someone in there asked, I believe it was Chavez Entertainment said, what's your favorite movie from 2020? So anybody got a favorite movie? Obviously, we had a lot of free time this past year. Anybody watch anything good?
My favorite was,
sorry, what?
Couldn't go to the movies. Let's see.
Well, they're streaming. Netflix, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So, you want me to start? I'll answer that one.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to call this a movie, but The Queen's Gambit.
Ooh, yes. We started watching that, and Frank's like, "This is not about chess," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
No, but what a movie!
What
a movie!
That's cool. Yeah, my favorite was, I didn't see a lot last year, but I loved Soul from
that animation is amazing.
Oh, that when that came out, it's just a beautiful film, and the storytelling was just amazing. So that was one of my standouts for the year, hands down.
I haven't got to see it yet, but it's on our list. It's on our list right now. We're in the middle of watching. We'll wave it. Oh. Hello.
How y'all doing?
So good. How are you?
This is my wife Jeannie, and this is Tango.
Hi, Jeannie. Nice to see you.
I'm not actually wearing sunglasses. I just came in from outside.
Cool. Sunny. Cute puppy.
Thank you.
Lynn, did you see anything cool this year?
Not really, just working a lot,
Mm.
working from home a lot. I just watch a lot of old reruns.
That's cool.
That's
What's
good.
your favorite rerun?
Well, we have a channel where they start with original series Star Trek and go all the way to
You're talking to the right crowd.
in chronological order. So that's an entire evening.
Oh,
We've been doing that too.
Yeah.
We've been doing that too. I could not get through Deep Space Nine. I mean, I maybe I need to skip to the seasons where Worf is there, but
Yeah, it's
but I love the rest. We've just recently been rewatching Voyager. I don't know if you like that.
Voyager's was really good. I thought.
Janeway.
Janeway. It's the Janeway or the Highway. That's how.
Janeway to the highway. Yep.
all right. Let's take a look here. Will there be more export file format option and raw file input?
That's a question for the developers.
Yeah.
That's been asked before, and it's just one of those things where you have to go to the forum and put in a feature request, and then everybody will vote that one up. So the ones that get, we presume, the ones that get the most votes are the ones that the devs are going to look at as a popular feature to add. So that would be my suggestion, is to post it there, and then we can all vote it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would vote that up for
Just a
sure.
reminder, none of these people here are developers. None of us. So it's all speculation from what we can do on this end.
Yeah, that's a question for Josh. But that's the way to get your voice heard, is to put it in as a feature request.
And I will say that they are very responsive to
Yes.
the feature request. Much more than any other company I've ever dealt with or seen.
They're a small company. They can't do everything, and they can't, everything. Oh, I do this in After Effects, or I do this in Premiere. Well, that's great, but they have a very small development force, and there's only so much they can do. So they really have to prioritize. I think they've done a great job too by staying competitive, and they keep saying they're punching above their weight, and that's absolutely true. They've got a great product for the kind of staff that they have. That's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And they do, like, for example, the voiceover recording was a highly voted up feature that they added because of that reason, because there were so many people who asked for it. So anything that you feel is important, get it out there, and then people will vote it up, if it's something that other people like, and it'll get the attention of the developers for sure.
So keep voting up markers.
Yeah, for real.
Markers is the one that we're all looking for. That's right.
Yep.
Here's a question. I slowed a 30 frames per second clip down to half speed, but it looks very choppy. Is there any way of frame blending or another technique to make that smoother?
I wish there was. There's other software out there, and I can't think of the name of it, that can do a better job at that. But you can use the rate stretch tool that will do as good as it can do, but it's just like anything. You only have so much data to work with. So what you're asking for is the system to interpolate missing frames. And that's way, way, way and above and beyond what the editor can do. So you can slow a clip down. It will, depending on how much movement is in there, it might look slow enough and fine enough. But if there's a lot of movement, you're going to have a lot of missing frames that aren't there.
Yeah, sometimes you can kind of soften it a little bit by using, I forget the name of the effect. I use it a few times here and there, but like echo trails or motion trails or something like that, where it blends adjacent frames together transparency-wise.
Yeah.
That kind of softens the stutteriness of slowed clips a little, but that's really the best you can do.
That's right. Yeah, and on my on the FX Home community thing where I did the stick striking techniques to the heavy bag, I added it was either motion trails or the echo effect. One of the two. I played with them both to try and see which one would cause the most really cool looking motion blur to the stick striking, so it looks like they were flying super fast. They were flying super fast, but they would look like they were flying even more super fast, almost like invisible. And you can use that effect in the same way to try to blend across frames, but it's hard. Is it Twixter that we're thinking of?
Yes. Yep.
Twixter. Yeah.
Yep.
That's an application that you can use to do that. The best way to do it is to film it 60 frames a second and then run it at 30 frames a second. So
yeah, because then you have the data, you've got the frames, they're there, and you're not trying to make up frames that aren't there.
Right.
Yeah, Twixter was the one I was thinking about, and again, that's standalone software written specifically for that purpose. So it doesn't do everything under the sun. It just works. It does slow mo.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Thank you. Justin, as a motion arts graphic artist, what would be the one thing you'd like to see in future HitFilm releases? From Greg. Great motion.
Yeah, cool. There are a bunch of things that I've been asking for a while. I would love to see some kind of scripting in there so I can, scripting, being able to directly connect properties between properties, like a node almost based kind of a connection system would be great. Better controls. I think somebody actually submitted a request in the forum for this recently. So ways to keyframe text properties like the kerning and things like that, all that kind of stuff, keyframe those properties over time would be really huge. I'm trying to think.
Here's what you do. You go to the forums, go to the feature requests, search for Justin, clever tagline, and then upvote anything that he asked for, right?
It's funny because the things I've submitted along that line, they were on the older system, so I'm not sure how that got carried across to the new feature request category. But I'm going to dig in there and see if those actually have their own entries now. I'm not sure. Look on the top of my mind anyway. That are coming off top of my head.
Definitely go back to it and pick out what those things that you were really like, hey man, I think you guys should do that, and put it on the new stuff. The new forum is wonderful to interact with. So even if it is a new post, I'm sure that folks will see like, hey man, that's a list of things that I'd be interested in too. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So I'll open up this question to Lynn and Frank also. Do you guys have anything that you would like to see added?
Everything.
Well, I think higher capacity lights might be a nice thing. I mean, it seems like a lot of people ask for, how come I can't go over 100%? How come I have to duplicate the light? It would be nice to be able to ump it over 100%. Definitely agree with the scripting or some small way to just, put in a formula or something to manage some features. But yeah, upping the capacity of the lights, I think would be a good thing.
Is that on the feature request?
I don't know if it is. Maybe I should make one.
It needs to be.
Yeah, one more that just kind of came to mind. I love it when they added the value editor, the value graph. So that was awesome when that came in, and then adding that to the editor timeline as well. That was really cool.
Yep.
But my biggest pet peeve along that line is that X and Y are tied together.
Yes.
X, Y, and Z, they're not independent controllable properties. They're still connected to each other in some ways. And so separating those out would be by itself, a huge benefit.
Yeah. The workaround is to have 3 points,
Yeah.
one for each. But it's a pain. But that's how you'd make like a camera rig. And especially on a camera rig, that would make things so much simpler because you'd have one control that would control all aspects of the camera, instead of a chain of parented points kind of a thing. And it's funny because when on Action Pro, that was the big request. Hey, can we separate these out? And they're like, yeah, and they did it like right away. It was like the first thing they did change.
And I wonder about that with HitFilm stuff, if it would break too many existing things, to have that core of a feature now change that dramatically. That's my concern with some of these changes. Like, yeah, it were great if it behaved that way, but then what does that do to everybody else existing projects? So
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That would be difficult. I didn't think of that. The backwards compatibility of it.
yeah.
Frank, any wish list items you'd like to see?
Everything.
Everything.
As
He's got the
someone
whole
said,
world on
keep
his
doing all the things.
Yeah.
All
That sounds
the
good.
things.
Yeah, but like kind of like
Complete.
what Justin said, being able to connect things, just being able to connect everything together would be really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
How about this one? Will stopping support of Flash affect HitFilm in any way?
No,
No.
HitFilm doesn't use Flash. Never have.
Nope.
So yeah.
And that's pretty old technology, so I'm surprised it's gone this far, to be honest. Hey, thanks, Bill. Hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. I always forget to talk about that. Any other questions that you have, let us know. Put it in the comments. We'd love to respond to them. Did I answer that? I don't think I did. I don't know what I would want next in HitFilm. Everything that they bring is so nice.
more.
And yeah, more.
More.
I think that because of the rewrite and increasing the the base level of OpenGL that they're now using to 4.1 from 2.0, that is going to allow them to add some really amazing things in the future. And I think they're just laying groundwork right now for that to happen. So I think that that's pretty exciting. How about a Python?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hinting at earlier. Yeah, some kind of a Python API, so we can just go in and say, "Hey, I want to write a script that then builds me a composite shot that has these things already tied together automatically." It's just that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be.
Or take an existing scene file and say, "Hey, modify this scene file," and then reload it. And now you have all these other cool things added. Like that would take forever to build manually or that kind of stuff.
Right. Mocha VR plugin. Yeah, that would be cool. We'd be all right with that. They have worked, they were going gangbusters on 360 video for a while, and now they've kind of, focused on other things.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on how far that technology goes. I don't think it's been as popular as people thought it was originally going to be when it first came out.
Yeah.
So, because you need more hardware.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
Quite a while back to play around. I started to kind of try to reverse engineer the HitFilm project file structure. It's just XML, just very customized, to figure out, okay, if I wanted to then build a file from scratch or modify an existing file, how would I go about doing that? And I didn't really get very far because it's so deep and complex, and they don't document the design of that file anywhere. But if there was some way to, again, have a connection to say, it's been said, the API, some kind of API would be nice. Whether it's Python or JavaScript or whatever, anything would be good right now.
RotoBrush. Yeah. RotoBrush. That'd be great. Love that. That would be amazing. And this goes before my time, so maybe one of you guys could comment on this, but originally the predecessor to HitFilm used the Macromedia projector. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds good. It's before my time, so I couldn't tell you for sure. But that I would believe it, because it goes, Flash goes way back.
I remember that. Vision
Yeah,
Lab,
exactly. Yeah. Did they?
Lab, LMDB.
And LMDB, did that use Flash technology?
That's way back in the day.
Yeah. I would believe that it might have, though. So here's a question from CC Coder. Can you save a comp as a template and save it to the template tab near the media bin tab.
Yeah, that's how templates, the install templates thing, that's how you build them. But I forget the process for doing it, but that's how you do it, is you build a composite shot and then you export it in a very specific way that I can't find. If I actually open HitFilm right now.
Publish? Talk about publish?
Yeah, you have to publish it. And then you have to,
right. You've got to, it has to be, you have to publish attributes in the composite shot. And then I think that comp can be exported as a template.
Yeah.
Right.
There is a tutorial on it somewhere.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I think
I touched on that in a tutorial that I made, but it wasn't a tutorial about that. It must have been something else. And I actually brought this up on the forum and asked more about it. Maybe it was. Shoot, maybe I did do a tutorial on templates. I think I did. And I think that's where, I think actually maybe it's mine. I think maybe so. I don't actually know. Hold on. Now I'm going to look. And we're still here, but I'm on a different tab.
Again, Google's your friend. If you type in HitFilm tutorial templates, I just got a whole bunch of videos that popped up that show you how to do it. So,
yeah.
And that's really the one thing that, people need to kind of clue in on is like, there are other people, no offense to anybody in the crowd here, but there are other people out there making tutorials and sharing information. And there's all sorts of stuff out on the internet. So,
Yeah. And mine was on built-in lower thirds template.
Yeah,
what it was.
Yeah,
and it's a 4-minute tutorial. It's on my channel.
Yeah, it's how to put a title in, make a template title.
Right. And I also talk about how to export it. And the reason that I remember that is because I had to ask, how do you do that? And I talked to one of the developers specifically about how to export the template and make sure that it's in the right place. And also there's where the templates are stored is changed now, and also the presets for the same reason. It's all different now, so you can't just add a folder in the presets folder like you used to be able to. Now you have to go into the actual folder on your computer where there are presets and add a folder there, and then it will show up. It'll populate itself in your effects tab under the presets folder when you load HitFilm up brand new. So any other questions? Triforce FX asks, when do you think HitFilm will have such a massive rewrite that it will break the backwards compatibility?
Next year. I don't know.
That'd be a really dangerous move if they did, a total rewrite so that no older project files would even open. I don't see that being a wise move at all.
I think what will happen is if they do that, you'll be able to import your old project, kind of like what we have now, where you can move forward, but you can never go back with your project.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll have it so that you can import your old project. It will convert it to the new format, and then you save it from there. They're not going to abandon people's work. I just don't see that happening. Of course, that is kind of nailing one foot to the floor and keeping you from redeveloping, starting all over from scratch. I mean, you really just can't write the code from the ground up again. You have to build on what you have, and that's what makes code development so hard and trying to keep things compatible.
Yeah. And they're such a small team that they don't have the time to invest to do a total rewrite like that.
Right. But I think they did make some great strides with 16. It sounds like they did rewrite some stuff. So I think they're on the trail of trying to bring things, up to quote unquote modern standards, up to speed, with other competitors. So I think as we go through time, anything, if you had a HitFilm 2 file, it may come to a point where you can't read it in. But,
right.
But I mean, if you had HitFilm 15, you go to HitFilm 17, I'm sure you'll still be able to read your file in.
Sure.
You guys still keep older files from like older hit films?
Well, I got like tests and stuff that I don't go back to, and they're still lying around. I go, oh yeah, I remember I did this test with this ship and this lighting. I'd like to go back and see if it works. And most of the time, everything still reads in. So
yeah. When I was making presets for Javer's market preset or preset marketplace, I would go back to HitFilm 2 and make them in that. So that anybody, and this is like when 2017 was out, so hit version 5. So anybody with 2, 3, 4, or 5 could use that preset rather than make it in the newest one, But the bottom line is really there's no reason to not be in the latest version unless you don't have a computer that can run it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem for everybody right now is staying up with the technology.
Yeah. But Josh is right when he says, hey, you can't expect gaming companies to make games that work on machines that are 10 years old. They're going to be making games that are based on the newest technology because you're going to get the best game, and so you are nailing your foot to the wall or, to the floor, trying to move forward at the same time. And I think it wouldn't be too unreasonable to say we're making a big jump here and we're, old backwards compatibility isn't going to happen.
Yeah, they'd almost have to come out with a new product.
Right.
That was written from the ground up, and you get the option of staying in the old lane and the option of moving into the new lane.
Right.
That would be one pathway, but I'm sure they've discussed all this stuff in their staff meetings, and who knows what they plan to do. But yeah, the whole XYZ split, that's huge. If they could do that, that would be a big thing. But if it's hard coded in the software where they would have to go back from the ground up to implement that, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. All right, so we're down to our last 22 minutes or so. Questions? Ask away. Greg says, I do want to say one thing. I've never seen Lynn in person. My vision was not correct. You look like a scientist. That's maybe Stargazer?
Well, actually, that was an old CB handle, and that was back when I was working with an amateur astronomy group. I had my own telescope, and I picked that as my handle because that's what I was.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's one of my goals for the year is to get a new telescope.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Anybody else have any CB names from the 70s? No?
Hey, you.
No? No.
I wasn't around in the 70s. Come on.
Well, I was.
I was computers back then.
No, I was a baby in '72.
Hey there, Candy Cane. This here's Rusty Nail. He knows.
That's right. That's what it was like. That's right. We got ourselves a convoy.
Oh, God. Wolf Creek Pass.
Stargazer. I love it. That's great. What big and Solo Samurai from Australia asks, what big projects do you have planned for 2021?
I got a truckload of projects on a list, but I'm not sure which ones I'm going to get done this year.
I know, with social distancing in the world not being exactly right, I think all of us are kind of apprehensive to create any kind of future plan at the moment because, but yeah, I mean, like 2021, I plan to still be around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You gonna make any mermaid videos?
Yes, and to hint to 4, you know where I am working currently, Mr. J, and there may be a mermaid opportunity there.
All right.
So
very exciting.
Cool.
Are you telling Jay because Jay wants to become a mermaid? Is that what that's going?
You know what? Until you've been a merman, you can't really judge it, can you? You never really tried.
Nope. I love mermaids. And I had some students who went through mermaid training and I got to see them perform and stuff. They were, like teenagers, and they were wonderful. It was so exciting. It was a very cool thing to see. And here where I live in Stanton, Virginia, we have what's called the Queen City Mischief and Magic. It's basically a Harry Potter celebration thing, and they have mermaids that are here for that also. And it's amazing to watch, especially little girls, see the mermaids swim and then talk to them and interact with them. And it's just it's wondrous, It's just they're just in awe of a mermaid, and I just think it's the coolest thing. So. So yeah, I would put a tail on and try it. I think it would be a lot harder than
my God.
I would think it would be a lot harder than it would be.
There's some badass dragon tails out there that look like an alligator that ate you up to the waist. Like there's some cool artists.
Don't let her
out there.
talk you into that.
Quiet, you.
Don't let her talk you into that.
I'm afraid that I don't know how heavy those tails are, but they got to be real heavy.
Yeah,
and
but your
I'm
tail
afraid it wouldn't-
Well, like a fabric tail is going to be a lot more fun for somebody that doesn't do what I do on a professional level. And those are easy to come by and you can find them on Amazon and stuff. But the one that I use for professional entertainment weighs about 45 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I would drown. I wouldn't make it past, across the kiddie pool.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I would have to train for that.
If I came up with a Jedi or Star Wars themed merman tail,
Oh my God.
you cannot tell me you wouldn't be interested, especially if it lit up.
I might have to train for that.
Y'all don't
All right,
know.
questions. We have devolved out of HitFilm and into mermaid questions.
Hey,
I
I'm
do
cool
have
too.
some
I
projects.
count. I'm part of the special effects community. Mine's
All right,
just
wait, go
special
ahead.
effects.
Go ahead, Justin. What are you going to do?
Well, first off, I spent some time yesterday working on editing the tutorial for the whole dice thing that I did for the year-end wrap-up. So that's moving along pretty nicely. I still want to do one on the Harry Potter Marauders map footstep approach, using a variety of different techniques. So that's kind of coming together. And like I said, I got a list that I've been keeping for years now that has just been sitting, waiting for me to get around to all these different things. So some are simple, some are more complex. And I also have this idea in the back of my mind of doing a lot of really, really short, like literally 60-second kind of quick tip kind of videos and throwing those out there. So that's still percolating in the back of my mind. I have a name, I have a logo idea, all this kind of stuff for it, but just haven't got around to the production side of putting all that stuff together. So lots of things I'd love to do, but just finding the time to do it is the biggest challenge. I mean, because I'm unemployed right now, or largely unemployed. So
You
Lynn,
never know.
any projects
Like
you
that
got
could
it?
spike your YouTube and put you up there with the money makers when it comes to subscribers and stuff. You should go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Lynn.
I got a big project I'm working on right now that I hope to get done here in the next couple of months. It's a half-hour documentary I'm working on. Like I said, I do bicycling and belong to this bicycle club that's been around for 50 years and continuously. And it's a really interesting story. I've done a lot of interviews, and one of the challenges I've run into with the whole COVID nightmare is being able to do the interviews with past presidents and people that were involved in the early beginnings of this organization. So that's the real challenge, to get all that done. Hoping to have that finished up here in the next couple months, and hopefully I'm going to look forward to retirement sometime this year. So.
Oh, how exciting!
Then I can actually do what I want.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is the GPU is part of the chip now? Yes.
I think he's talking about the M1 reference. Triforce.
Oh, yes. Here.
Max might cause some trouble. I'm kind of curious about that myself. I mean, there are things about the M1s that look really cool, but I mean, that's a whole new platform to develop. And I mean, not a platform, but I mean, a whole new, build there for how do those things deal with, the graphic side of things, and how compatible are they with the current Macs? And, I think Josh mentioned at some point that the M1 they're not going to be jumping onto it anytime really, really soon, because it's going to take a significant amount of time to develop for, and recode everything for that new system.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. And so because of that, it may be a little bit, but, and I've heard of other issues that are happening with that also. So, it's not just HitFilm. There's a lot of things happening there. So I'd like to record HitFilm tutorials, but I have a parrot who won't let me record voiceover in peace. It's like Axel Wilkinson told, his old tutorials, he had his cat in the, would meow in the background. So he finally just incorporated that as part of his tutorial.
Right? Like, just put the bird right in front of you and go, she has a lot to say. She wants to be.
Didn't he have an iguana too one time?
Yeah. Stoli. Stoli.
Now he's out in the Everglades.
Yeah. And then his, half of his house caught on fire. But all of the animals survived. So that was the good news. But man, it was bad. If you got a chance to see some of the pictures and videos of his, what was left of his house after it burned, it was terrible. It was awful. But everything seems to be back up to speed. But yeah, he's got Stoli, the iguana or the lizard or whatever it is, and then the cat also. So, any other question? We're down to our last 13 minutes or so before we sign off here. I have something I have to be at, so we can't go more than an hour. If you have questions, ask them now. Do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask any of us that are here or people in the audience watching?
Well,
Lynn, are you here? You're here in the United States, right?
Is this pointing at Frank, like Frank has a question, or ask Frank a question? I saw you pointing there, Courtney.
I don't know. I thought he was going to talk.
I was reading something. I was just reading. The comments are funny.
There you go. Just put your parrot on audio on track 2 and click mute. That'll work.
If it were that easy.
If it were that easy, that's exactly right.
I'll say one thing. Simon Jones is back, it looks like.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So is he back officially, or is that just a guest tutorial that he did? That was pretty neat.
Well, I thought it was a one-off cameo, but then he was back on the video, the year-end wrap-up, HitFilm in the background, so maybe he's back as a regular user now. Who knows?
I don't know. That's a very good question. All of his tutorials, when I first started, they were all the tutorials. Him and Axel's tutorials were the ones that I followed religiously. And not that all the tutorials that we've seen this year by Ollie and Javert and the guests like Zach Allen and those guys have been fantastic. But there's something about Simon Jones tutorials that are just amazing.
Special.
Yeah. And it could be, whatever, but George Film, you are very welcome. My pleasure. Bird noise removal filter. Put it on the feature request.
There we go.
Put it on the feature request, I'm sure. Any more questions? We're down to our last 10 minutes here. Now is the time to ask. If you have a question about how to do something in HitFilm or where, anything about it, ask away. And sorry, Terry's right. And Tom's videos have been great too this year as well. So for sure.
There's a lot of people producing content, and that's the nice thing about this community is everybody's willing to share and put their own stuff out there. And I've seen a lot of people this year come on with, this is my first tutorial. What do you guys think? And you just go, wow, I think you did a lot of work because I've only done it maybe 1 or 2 times, and it's just so much work. And people that have figured out a way to do these and make them clear and concise, I really tip my hat to them.
Yeah, yeah. And I can attest they're not easy to do.
No.
And so, you know, and there are more tutorials coming out all the time than there have ever been.
But speaking of tutorials, there was the question on the forum about should there be a list or a question or a category somewhere of a list of tutorials you want to see. And I know we went back and forth about that on the forum about whether, you know, that should be in the forum or how would we handle that, or and I just don't know what the answer is, but I know people come across things, and 9 times out of 10, it's already been asked and answered. There's probably already a tutorial out there. Again, you know, you just search on Google, but again, you know, where do you keep all of those? Because everybody's, they're all in separate places. And
my answer to that was right here. Go to HitFilm University's playlists, because Mike has got them all.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's not just playlists of his own stuff. It's playlists of everybody else who's ever produced anything.
Yeah. And here I am right here, right? 259 videos there. But I mean, there's Film Empire, there's Cookie Motion. I mean, there are so many different lists of tutorials, and they're in all kinds of languages and all kinds of, you know, Skynet is in French. He's in Canada. Great. He's a friend of mine, and he knows what he's doing up there, you know. And so there are so many tutorials that are available, you know, it's ridiculous. So that's my suggestion, right? Is to
good call.
Is just to go to his tutorial and, you know, list and just start going through it. But I would start, if I was a beginner, I would absolutely start with the beginner basic course that FX Home has. And I would consider there's a Udemy course for beginners.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got your own Udemy course going there, Jay, too. Which you really did a nice job with, I thought, by the way. Very, very well thought out.
Thank you. Let's see. This says, CC Coder, would your Fantastic Beast tutorial be the place to start to make a 2D JPEG into a 3D model? Can that be done?
I would not do that in film.
No, you'd want to do it in Blender, but not sure I would even do it in Blender that way. I probably would use JPEGs as your reference material to build your model around. It'd be a lot better. It would come out a lot better. The one that I did basically just extrudes. It uses another application to create a vector drawing, and then that vector drawing comes into Blender, and we extrude it out, and then you bring it into HitFilm as a model. Basically, is what happened there. Much like you would with the text in HitFilm.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Speaking of Blender, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on with Blender. Spydurhank.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I could make him one. Great. Motion.
Yeah. Do you know where I can find a golden ratio spiral overlay?
I can make you one, dude.
Well, I was putting in a plug for Filmer.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like lost in Gray's thingamajig.
But
I'm sorry.
That's the exciting part is the integration between Filmer and HitFilm, and it ties in, and that's Blender. I mean, that's I'm a Lightwave guy, and I'm tearing my hair out, going, why do I have to learn Blender? But it looks like I'm going to have to.
I wish I could have been able to try Lightwave at some point, because I've always seen videos of people exporting from there to HitFilm, and flawless. The models come out looking really good. Yeah. So I always wanted to try Lightwave.
But HitFilm does not read Lightwave 2020. I bought into the new version, and I went to import it into HitFilm, and it went bonked. And no, don't tell me. Nope, they don't support the new format.
Yeah. Damn.
So what's your workaround?
workaround is to go back to the previous version of Lightwave or use Blender.
Yeah, he's
But
like
in all cases, am I wrong here? We have to export to OBJ, right?
That's what I do normally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, with Filmer, if you
With
create
Filmer.
something within Filmer, you're able to transfer it to HitFilm flawlessly. The 3D from HitFilm to Blender works both ways and works very well. So definitely check it out.
She's only saying because she's actually tried it herself. She's like, I want to do some text.
Yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn some stuff.
And
I had
like,
to learn how to
dude,
do stuff.
in like 2 minutes, I'm like, do this.
Yes.
Now paint it.
Yeah, well,
Now send it over to HitFilm.
I got the master sitting here, so definitely when you're talking about a
Well,
tutorial, there it is.
You've got
But
the
yes.
inside track.
Yeah, which is really nice. But I own Filmer. I have bought it, and it is a magnificent version of Blender. It's basically Blender with all these extra features and doodads, which allow you to do all kinds of things, including bringing entire scene from a Blender scene into HitFilm flawless.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah. And that way you can then work another beauty pass in HitFilm on top of your Blender pass. It's so beautiful.
It seems like FX Home has kind of adopted Blender as well. So I expect to see more integration coming. Now that's just speculation, but
No, it's pretty obvious.
Oh, they have the same scripts.
That's predictable. It's going to happen the more because you want to be able to do more.
Yeah.
So
integrate. Make sure everybody has shared.
It's the right thing to do. The more you can add to the software, you want to do that.
Exactly. Here's a question: are there any Back to the Future tutorials out there for HitFilm? I have never made one.
There might be.
No, there might be.
DeLorean?
Yes. I want to make it look like the Rolls Royce is like the DeLorean when it takes off.
I know that Production Crate did a whole Back to the Future tutorial thing that was fabulous, but it was an AE. But I watched that tutorial and said, "Oh gosh, that's completely."
I bet there's one.
There's a couple out there.
Sketchfab probably has a DeLorean.
Yeah, I bet there's a DeLorean on Sketchfab somewhere, dude. There's got to be.
Did you just start a community project where we're all going to make it back to the
Sure.
I mean, just do a Google search HitFilm tutorial Back to the Future. Boom! I got like 4 of them right here. So,
Are you going to be Doc? Because that would be amazing.
Doc Brown.
He can be Marty. He can be Marty. Okay,
Marty.
and there's Doc. All right. I don't know.
Oh,
You want to be a flux time capacitor?
who, me?
I could be a flux capacitor.
Oh, you want to be the car?
I'm saying,
You
let's
wanna be
get
the
everybody in on it.
Oh no, actually, I see Jay as Biff.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, punk. Make like a tree and get out of here.
Come on. Peer pressure.
That's right. I could be a good Biff for sure. I could do that. I got the lines. The cool part about the flux capacitor is that it was a prop that was used in one of my all-time favorite movies, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. It was the original oscillation overthruster.
Oh, wow, how cool.
It's the exact same prop. And the Christopher Lloyd brought it with him from that movie to his very next movie.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm taking
That basically stole it, off the. And that Buckaroo Banzai is a movie with Peter Weller, who played RoboCop and is now producer.
That is like crazy.
Yeah, I kind of go.
I have a Yo-Yo Dine T-shirt, that I wear all the time, and it's a great movie. I love that movie. So it's one of my all-time favorite movies. I think it won 8 Academy Awards too. I'm pretty sure.
Selling itself. We simply must make a Back to the Future remake now.
I'm gonna be John Big Boutte.
How Doc Brown got the flux capacitor.
Yeah, where did he get it? Did he jack it from
He
somewhere?
stole it from the government.
Or
Yeah, he stole it from Buckaroo Banzai, from the Bonsai.
That would be an amazing trail into our own version of it, right? Just
Yeah.
saying, pull it off the set.
That belongs to me now.
There you go. There you go.
Oh wow.
All right. Oh wait, he did a Back to the Future skit on What Chef.
Oh,
channel.
Cool.
How cool!
I don't know that I've seen that. I'll have to go.
Link.
watch.
Right?
Link.
Share it on the forums if you can't share it here. We're definitely
Yeah, share it on the forums. And What Chef is a great channel. Go subscribe to that channel. It's all about food. I'm
Ooh.
subscribed to that channel. It's all
I
about
like food.
Done some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. And he did a thing. He did a collab with Mike on Tim Tams, the Australian dessert, and it was fun. It was a great time. It was fun watching Mike and his wife eat these Tim Tams. All right. Well, I think we are out of time. It is now 4 o'clock, so we have to go. Next week, we will be back with another episode of Live with Sensei. I want to thank you guys for being here. Do you have any last things you'd like to say, starting with Courtney and Frank?
Thanks a lot. That's it.
Yes, thank you very much for having us, Jay. And thank you, everybody, for coming to see us. We missed you.
Thank you. Lynn, any last things you'd like to say?
Well, just happy New Year. Good luck to everybody coming up, and let's all make cool stuff.
Awesome. Justin?
That's about it for me. Be safe, be well, and be awesome. That's all I got.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about. Live your best life, everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Happy New Year.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Farewell.